Okay guys, today we're going to talk about angles in a circle for our day 3 lesson. So if you want to title your notes, Angles in a Circle. And the first type of angles that we're going to talk about are called central angles. And a central angle is an angle in which the vertex of the angle is at the center of the circle. Okay, so if you look here, here's the center, that is the vertex of this angle. So we're going to let this represent our angle. Okay, and then this outside piece is going to be called the arc. So it is the intercepting arc for this angle. So if you look at example 1, it says find this little m stands for the measure of arc AB. Okay, so this represents the arc. The lowercase m stands for measure of the arc. So there's two types of arcs that we're going to learn about. We're going to learn about a minor arc and a major arc. So the minor arc measures less than 180 degrees. Okay, so this is the minor arc. Your major arc measures more than 180 degrees. Okay, so if it's asking us to find arc AB, I just kind of like to color it in so we know what we're looking for. The measure of that arc is going to be the same as the central angle. Okay, so our central angle is 100 degrees. So that means the measure of the arc is also 100 degrees. So we're going to say the measure of arc AB equals 100 degrees. So remember, there's 360 degrees in a circle. This arc represents 100 degrees of that. So based on minor arc and major arc, this is less than 180. So this would be a minor arc. Okay, so if you look at example 2, it says find the measure of arc ACB. And you want to go in the order that your letters represent. So ACB. So I'm actually looking for this bigger piece of the circle on this one. Okay, so we know that this angle is 40 degrees. So that means that the measure of this arc out here is 40 degrees. If I want the measure of the rest of this circle, we would say the measure of arc ACB, 360 in the whole circle. So we're going to do 360 minus 40 to give us 320 degrees for the measure of that arc. This is greater than 180, so this would be a major arc. So what I want you to understand is the measure of the central angle is the same as its intercepting arc. So this is 70 degrees, the arc is 70 degrees. What is important is that you know that it comes from the center of the circle, because we're going to learn about different types of angles as we move along. Okay, so our next problem, we've basically got this graph that they've given us. It says the accompanying circle graph shows how the Marino family spends its income each month. So it's giving you the percentages of everything. Here's their mortgage, their insurance, their food, their utilities, and then the auto for the cars. So it says, what is the measure in degrees of the central angle that represents the percentage of income spent on food? Okay, so spent on food. What is the measure in degrees of the central angle that represents the percentage of income spent on food? This part is 25% of the whole graph. It's asking me this angle. So we're going to set up a proportion. So I know that there's 100% of the money spent total. 25% of that is on food. So 25% out of 100 is equal to how many degrees over the total 360 degrees. So we can cross multiply there. And when we cross multiply, we're going to get 100x equals 9,000. Okay, so you would divide by that 100. And we're going to find out that the food represents 90 degrees. Okay, so you just figured out that this central angle is 90 degrees. So let's look at another one. If Mario's family spends $1,200 a month, how much money does this family spend on utilities? So let's go to utilities. So think about $1,200 a month. How much do we spend on utilities? So utilities, we're at 20%. So again, 20% out of 100% is equal to some amount of money over the total of $1,200 for the month. So part over whole equals part over whole. Again, we're going to cross multiply. So that's going to give me 100x equals 24,000 divided by your 100. So $240 is how much is spent on utilities each month. So that's how we would do it as a proportion. You also could multiply the percentage by however much is spent per month as well. So this is just trying to get you to think proportion-wise, part out of whole on the circle. The next example says the circumference of the trunk of a tree is to be decorated is 16 inches. So the circumference of the trunk of a tree to be decorated is 16 inches. You have 9 inches of garland to wrap partially around that trunk. What is the arc angle of the trunk that you will decorate? So let's look at what we know. We know our circumference is 16 inches. We know our garland that we have to wrap around that is only 9 inches. So let's draw ourselves a picture to represent that trunk of the tree. Okay, so the circumference all the way around is 16 inches. But we're going to show that we only have 9 inches of garland. So this is going to kind of represent my garland. And this is just an estimate. So let's say I've got 9 inches to go around the trunk of that tree. Okay, it says what is the arc angle of the trunk that you will decorate? So let's think about what we know, part over whole again. So we know that we have 9 inches out of the 16, so let me put these units here, is equal to, if it wants to know the angle, I'm in some type of degree, so x degrees out of the whole circle, 360 degrees. I'm going to cross multiply. So that's going to give me 16x equals 3,240. We would divide by our 16. And we're going to find out that our arc angle is going to be 202.5 degrees when you divide that.